It is important to understand that every female has a different cycle. Some of your cycles are 28 days, some of your cycles are 30 days. A lot of people only know about ovulation phase. Hi guys, thank you for tuning into the Womanhood University. I am Nambi Nine. I go by Nambi or B, either one. I am your host. Now, today we're going to be discussing the 4 phases of the female cycle. I'm here in my office. Currently, I'm trying to, redesign and stuff. So don't mind it's just herbs and stuff back there. We're going to be referencing my book, The Female Guide. So we have the menstrual phase, we have the follicular phase, we have ovulation, and we have a luteal. A lot of people only know about ovulation phase, but honestly, in this awakening of the female, we've kind of transferred over, and a lot of people are starting to, get certain information, or they're starting to learn more about their bodies, and I'm glad to see it. I'm happy to see it. So first and foremost, it is important to understand that every female has a different cycle. Every female has a different duration of their cycle. Some of your cycles are 28 days. Some of your cycles are 30 days. But you have to find out what your cycle is. It may not be the same as someone else's cycle. That's the biggest mistake that research has made, is kind of generalizing all women together. Like, all women have their different cycles. All women's anatomy is different. Their temperatures of their vaginas, everything is different. So of course we're going to start with the menstrual phase. This phase starts when an egg isn't fertilized. So you're going to shed the lining of your uterus. That lining was thickened to support a fetus. So once it's not used, your body knows you're not pregnant, it's going to shed. So during your period, you're going to release mucus, blood, and tissue. During this time, you will be more emotional, you will be exhausted, and you will be tired. Okay. And the symptoms include cramps, tender breast, bloating, mood swings, irritability, headaches, and tiredness. This time of the month is for the feminine to relax, isolate, and really reflect. It's a great time to start manifesting, putting your dreams in. And that time is for, like I said, just manifesting, planting that seed. Your estrogen and basically all your hormones, they're going to drop at its levels. And during this time, women are kind of confused. You kind of feel conflicted with the way you feel. You might be very emotional. You might be very irrational. That's why it's good to isolate during this time, because you can make some decisions that you didn't really mean, and it's decisions that are permanent. And sometimes you want to isolate during this time because your feelings are, I'm not saying they're not valid, but they're a little heightened and they're a little irrational. So during this time, even if you live with your boyfriend, right? If you live with your boyfriend, during menstrual phase, try to isolate yourself. It's good to have support, and it all depends on you. So if you're a person who, a woman who likes attention, or you kind of want your back rubbed during this time and you want a lot of snacks and stuff, it's good to have that support and stuff, but you need to isolate. I'm telling you, your feelings are completely left during this time. And then next you have the follicular phase. This begins on the first day of your period, and it lasts all the way until ovulation. This will be that surge in estrogen. Your lining will thicken during this time, creating an ideal environment for the embryo to grow. So the follicular phase can last around 16 days and can range from 11 to 27 days depending on your cycle. You may start to feel a spike in energy, sex drive, and motivation during follicular phase. Personally, I love follicular phase. I love all the phases, but if I had to rank them, I would say ovulation, number one, and then follicular, and then menstrual, and then luteal. Start putting your dreams into plan and start to organize. And what you want it to happen in the menstrual phase, this is where you start to plan in the follicular phase, what you wanting to manifest in the menstrual phase. You start planning, you start organizing. During follicle phase, it's good to come out of your isolation, because during this time, it's like, okay, you're ready for the world. Okay, now you're ready to get out of that funk, and it's time to start putting those dreams into fruition. Ovulation phase. This is the most common, what people know, what most men know, and thanks to social media. So ovulation is when your ovary releases the egg. Okay, the egg travels down the fallopian tubes and towards the uterus to be fertilized by the sperm. There's a spike in estrogen levels. Ovulation happens around the day 14 of your a 28-day cycle. During ovulations, the symptoms you would experience is higher sex drive, more vaginal discharge, excitement, and happiness. During this time, you're going to be so happy, depending on if you take care of your hormones. And, you know, because women with PCOS and or other hormonal deficiencies can experience something totally different than other women. That's why it's important to balance your hormones. I do have a tea for balancing hormones. I do recommend herbs like red clover and bee pollen throughout the month, so that you are, kind of balancing your hormones. When you're ovulating, this time is for the feminine to start going after what she's manifested. Okay, so be confident in this time. The world is yours. So menstrual, you are seeing what you want to manifest. Right? You're seeing what you want to happen around you. You're putting your dreams and your goals in your mind. You're planting the seed. You are starting to put the plans in action. You are starting to organize the plans. You're trying to see how you're going to execute the plans. Ovulation, you're going to start going after the plan. Okay? This is the best time to do it. Ovulation will be so fun. You might like your boyfriend a lot more, than you did in the menstrual phase. You might feel better. Your decisions are more rational during this time. So a lot of things you need to be doing in the ovulation phase, it has to do around executing, because your brain is kind of leveled. And then last but not least, you have the luteal phase. The luteal phase is after ovulation. During this phase, PMS symptoms occur if the woman is not pregnant. So that's when you start to feel bloating, mood changes, cravings, and tender breast. This time of the month is for reflection and recharging. Okay, you did it. You manifested your dreams. You used your cycle the right way. Now luteal phase, now you're coming back down. You're coming back down. It's time to reflect on what you've done and recharge. During this time, you may also be irrational again. Sometimes you could be emotional again. It depends on your cycle. But most women during this time are oddly emotional and just kind of maybe sad, reflecting on things, and it could be a hard time. So during this time, also don't make any big decisions, because you are not, at your right level during this time. So don't make any big decisions when it comes to the luteal phase. So in terms of cycle syncing, if you use your cycle the way that you're supposed to use your cycle, you can honestly balance your life out. When it comes to your cycle, you should not be mixing the times. So basically, let me give you an example. Luteal. So luteal, you don't want to be doing too many masculine things. Like luteal phase is for resting, recharging, and you have to use that time for that, or you're going to be all over the place. That's where anxiety comes in. That's where people start to feel off balance. Not people, women start to feel off balance. You want to use your cycles wisely, because time is of the essence. Okay. And that's the thing. Women are so misunderstood. These cycles are so important. Even in our relationships, if your man does not understand your cycle, he can be easily offended during the luteal phase. He can be easily offended during the menstrual phase. He can be easily confused when it comes to you switching moods. Like, oh, last week she was okay. Last week was ovulation. Last week she was okay. Why is she, different now? It just depends on her cycle. And if men understood the cycles, they'd be advanced. They'd be ahead. Learn your woman's cycles, because you can totally cheat the game. Totally cheat the game. Sometimes they need the guidance. A lot of men aren't taught these female cycles, and they go through life not understanding why their girlfriend or their wife is different, not understanding why their daughter has an issue this week, why your daughter is so emotional and catty. You have to understand women. And no, there's not an excuse for women to act so a certain way, or yes, you have to learn how to control it, women. Okay, you have to learn how to control your emotions. You have to learn how to, because the truth is nobody cares. Nobody cares. You have to learn how to control your emotions and make sure you're doing things the right order. Personally, for me, when it's a luteal phase, I am, I can think about things that happened before. I think about trauma. I think about, I'm just like, oh God, like, but once I realize what the phase is, I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, I get this. Let me just try to balance my hormones, balance my emotions, and, let's see we'll just see it through. And once my cycle changes and it goes to ovulation, I'm like, oh God, I was just being so dramatic. Like, okay, whatever. Like menstrual, before all that's a hard time for me as well, because I'm like, oh my God, like, it's just, and the crazy part is I did not feel these things until I got older. I did not feel these things until I turned probably 24. I got my cycle when I was 11 years old. All those moments were like, I loved my period. I still love my period, but now the PMS is totally different. So it can change as you age. Mine, like my period at 11 and 12 and 13, 14, all the way up until 24, I had the worst cramps. Everything was bad, but I really did enjoy my period. I enjoyed the cycle. I enjoyed it. I got this surge of energy every time. I never felt emotional. I never wanted chocolate, or, I thought all these things that, watching movies, women just wanted chocolate and snacks. I never wanted all those things. I was extremely happy and energetic during my periods. And then 24 hit, and I'm like, why am I so emotional this week? Why am I so irrational? I wanted like ice cream and weird things. And I'm just like, when did this change? And I guess now it's just a hormonal thing. So you have to know yourself, know your cycle, teach the people around you about cycles. Get this book, get my book. Okay. It's only $10 for the ebook. Get my book, learn these things so that you can teach an entire generation of women. You can learn an entire It is so important to teach future generations. Think of yourself. Think of your sister. Were you taught the right way? Was your mother taught the right way? Did your grandmother know these things? Most of the times it's a no, because research on women was very seldom. They did not want women to learn about themselves, know about themselves. So now it's up to this generation to learn. There's no excuse anymore. There is everything out there for you. There's books, there's podcasts, there's YouTubers. There's no excuse anymore. Thank you guys so much for watching the Womanhood University. I'll see you in my next video.